3 upgrade. So there you have it, guys, a 27 megahertz remote for Gremlin. This thing is terrible, guys. It has a horrible signal and it's been glitching out a ton lately, so it has to go. And the best way to go for the cheapest price would be with FlySky. This, of course, is FS-GT2B. Thought this was the best option since I didn't really want to share it with any other RC. Guys, let's get this opened up and check it out. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and pop open the top. Okay, let's pull everything out. Come on, there we go. Of course, on top we have the receiver and binding plug and an antenna tube. We have the LiPo battery, which is very nice because you can recharge it just plugging it into the computer. We have charging, discharging, all that fun stuff. Then we have an extra handle as well as a USB to plug it in. And then we have the remote itself. Wow. Guys, I'm actually pretty impressed. Wow, I love that wheel. Oh yes, that is nice. Well, all I have to do is put the battery in and then plug it into the computer and let it charge. So while the remote's charging, I might as well go ahead and install the new receiver. So let's take out the old one. Here is the old one. So I'm going to go ahead and unplug the battery, followed by the servo for throttle and the servo for steering. And now all I have to do is pull it off because it's just held on there with double-sided tape. Now, as you can see, the antenna actually goes through a very complicated course to make it all the way to the antenna tube. So I'm going to have to undo that and then just replace it with a new one. And there you have it. The new receiver has been installed. Remember that the steering servo gets plugged into channel 1 and then the throttle servo gets plugged into channel 2 unless you have an ESC. Then you plug the ESC into channel 2. The battery goes into the top port. Now the only thing that I have an issue with is the antenna is not long enough to make it to the antenna tube holder. So I'm going to have to do a modification for that in the future, but for now that will work. Next up, I need to go ahead and bind the receiver with the remote. So in order to bind it, all I have to do is get the bind plug and plug it into channel 3. With that taken care of, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the RC, and you can see that the receiver is going to start blinking red. Now it's time to go ahead and turn on the remote. I'm going to open this up. I'm going to hold the bind button down and turn on the remote. You can see that's going to be blinking green. Once the receiver turns solid red, you can go ahead and turn off the remote, followed by the RC. Pull out the bind plug. And then you can turn the remote back on, followed by the RC. And everything should be binded. There you go, guys. Awesome! Now, if you need to reverse any of the servos, there's one for throttle as well as one for steering. I need to go ahead and reverse the throttle. There we go. Now everything is working perfect. So after messing around with the antenna tube for just a little bit longer, I was able to go ahead and set it up this way. For now, this will work. The antenna is kind of exposed, but it works. I'll think of something better in the future. Now, as for that little hubcap for the wheel on the old transmitter, you can see that I went ahead and I cut the tabs off, I sanded it down, and now I'm going to go ahead and glue it onto the starter just like that. Just add a little bit more detail. Alright, that looks much better. Neat little detail, huh? Now before I end the video, a couple more things about the remote. They do include an extra handle. You can see that they have one small and one large, just depending on how big your hand is. Also, there is a port to plug it into the computer or into a wall charger, whatever you want to, using the USB. Either way, guys, I have to say this is a pretty good deal for the price that they run for. I got this one for $35, so yeah, I am very, very happy. And that was Gremlin's Level 3 upgrade.